Saudi Arabia has been a bulwark against Iranian power. But under the Biden administration, they started attacking the Saudis. There was this issue of the murder of the columnist, Washington Post columnist Khashoggi. Now I'm not defending what the Saudis did, but the Americans decided that that was a geopolitical issue and that they would throttle back their support for the Saudis. They also were very critical of the Saudis for the way they conducted the war against the Houthis in Yemen. All of this, I'm sorry, I spend a lot of time on it, John, but all of this has transmitted a message of weakness by America. And there are two other things which I think were really focused on by President Putin and Xi Jinping in China. One of them was Obama's red line in Syria, when he decided in the end, you'll recall, not to proceed with action against the Assad regime for the use of chemical weapons, having said it was a red line. And that was serious. That was a significant blow to the United States prestige. The British Parliament also voted against any intervention in support of the Americans in those circumstances. So this sent out a very negative message about Western resolve. But then more seriously than that was the sudden withdrawal from Afghanistan, which I thought was absolutely catastrophic. It wasn't just that it was a shambles. I suppose any withdrawal in a short period of time is going to involve a certain amount of, shambles. But it sent a message of lack of American and lack of, Western, but particularly lack of American resolve. And I know from talking to people in the British and American intelligence communities that Putin and Xi Jinping saw this as a very clear message of lack of American resolve. So I spent a lot of time going through all of those things because I think it's really important to understand the context of where we're at. So would Putin ever have invaded Ukraine if the Americans had shown more resolve through those previous years? Would Iran still be doing what it is doing and creating huge pain in the Middle East if a policy of maximum pressure had been maintained on Iran? And would Xi Jinping still be threatening to take Taiwan, and particularly not by a D-Day landing, but by some sort of blockade, throttling Taiwan? Would he be doing that if the Americans and their allies had shown huge resolve over the last few years? So I think that's the problem we have. And the only way, of course, you can't change the past, but the only way to rectify that is now to show huge resolve, to double down on support for the Ukrainians, to get back into a policy of maximum pressure on the Iranians, and to make it perfectly clear to Xi Jinping that we want to coexist with China and engage with China, but an invasion or blockade of Taiwan would be a casus belli. So don't even think about it.